let's go through. Let's make sure we've got the right instruments for these. And like I said, we're only going to use free stuff. Okay, that's all we're interested in. I'm just going to solo each one, and we're going to see what's going on. So this is tip number one. When it comes to piccolos and flutes, so what has it done? What has it done? When it said a flute solo, it's opened up the sampler, which used to be the ESS 24, but I think that's a generation old now. So it's opened up factory orchestral woodwinds flute solo. Okay, that's interesting. And it says flute solo plus, and what that means is that it will do the staccato and the legato, and you can articulation switch between them. We're not going to worry about that too much for the time being, but it said flute solo, so that's fine. Let's just flutes. What does flutes sound like? Sounds a little bit fake to me. So what I like to do is we want a flute sound. In fact, I think that's actually a piccolo up the top, because I think that's out of range for a... I think that's a piccolo. Let's go to woodwinds. Let's go piccolo. Piccolo. Yeah, just piccolo. That'll be right. And we'll just listen to that on its own. Right? That's what it's supposed to sound like. That's what it's supposed to be. So it's a high flute. It's a piccolo. It's a little baby flute. It sounds really high. Does that sound like anything else to you? It doesn't sound quite... Oh, that's piercing. I'm going to swap that out, and I'm not going to call that a piccolo, and you're going to learn very quickly the way that I work with this stuff. I'm going to go world. I'm going to go European. And I'm going to go Celtic tin whistle. Celtic tin whistle. That sounds like a good idea to me. Now that sounds more like a real instrument to me. Sounds imperfect. That sounds like a machine gun. We don't like that. See? That sounds more like a high little flute thing. It isn't. It's a tin whistle, but I want it to sound imperfect. I want it to sound like a real instrument. Now, with flute, the flute doesn't sound like a flute. So what I want to do is I want to go to world again. World, in logic, basically means imperfect instrument. You know, it just sounds a little bit dirtier. Chinese. Ooh, world. Hang on. Asian. What have we got? South Asian. Ooh. Indian flute. What does that sound like? Do you sound imperfect and cool? Sounds alright. Sounds alright. So that's an Indian weird flute. So already sounds better than the orchestral flute. Southeast Asian. What do we have? No, South American. Peruvian panpipes. Get in. Let's try it. Doesn't sound a whole lot different to me. Well, we've got another one here. Hang on a minute. I like being able to hear the breaths, right? So for our flute 3 then, maybe we could use, for flute 3, Turn those off. So flute 3, let's go back to the Indian thing. What did we say? Asian, yeah. The Bansuri flute. Nice. Okay, yeah, let's have a listen to that. Let's turn that down. It's a little bit piercing. Let's just turn it down a little bit. Okay, so if we put the piccolo over there, flute next door, and then the next one just a little bit over like that. Now that already sounds sounds more like a bunch of flutes being played to me than the other, instruments. Now, the alternative to this is to go over to, let's see what the clarinets sound like, actually. We'll leave the flutes there, and let's go to our clarinets. Right, now that sounds like is it called a mellotron? What's it called? What did the Beatles play? And you set it to flute and go, it's not, is it a mellotron? What's it called? It's not a melodica. It's a mellow something. I think it's called a mellotron. I'm not sure. I can't remember. Tell me. Write in the comments. Tell me what it is. What's it called? What did the Beatles used to play that sounds just like this? And this is the problem. This is why I'm looking for dirtier objects. Because when you have a bunch of perfectly recorded or perfectly synthesized sounds and you play them together in harmony, it sounds like an organ. It doesn't sound like an orchestra. It doesn't sound like humans playing instruments with their breath. It sounds like you're hitting keys. It sounds like a keyboard is generating it, right? And this is what we're trying to avoid. Yeah, this just sounds like the Beatles to me. Check this out. Now that does not sound real to me at all. So, alright. So I would suggest then that Logic's sampler fails on clarinets. And just word to the wise, clarinets are always the thing that makes your MIDI mock-up sound fake. Always. Clarinets are just always the worst. Clarinets and oboes are the thing that makes your stuff sound fake. Always. So you need to really pay attention to your woodwinds for this reason. Because they just sound like a mellotron or whatever it is. What is that? What is that instrument? No, do you know what? I'm going to let you tell me. Okay, so let's see. So by going to the factory orchestral stuff in the woodwinds, we've got the clarinet, and it's not good. It isn't good. It doesn't sound like a clarinet. I'm not happy. So who can help us out? Well, this is where Spitfire Audio comes crashing to the rescue, because for free, for reals, you can get the BBC Symphony Orchestra plugin from Spitfire Audio. I know, it's amazing. I can barely believe it myself. Piccolos, and this is really cool because it tells you where to place them, or at least where they are naturally placed in the orchestra. Look, there's your tuba, your trumpets, your trombones, all your brass over there. Then you've got your basses, then your cellos, your violas, and see, that's where stuff goes. Piccolo, you see, did you notice? Look, piccolo's over there, because I know that that's where these things live. Really, really worth learning where the positions of instruments are. In general, there's no hard and fast rules, but there are definitely tried and tested, ways of doing this that will help you. So, we're looking at clarinets, aren't we? So clarinets are over here. Let's just see what this sounds like. That's kind of cool. Staccato. Sounds a bit more real, doesn't it? Sounds alright. A little too much reverb for my liking. because with that much reverb, that's with the reverb off, by the way. If I put the reverb up, is that what that is? I think that's what that is. Yeah, reverb controls. Okay, that's a lot. Turn the reverb off, and you got like almost a 3-second tail of reverb on it without any reverb on it. So that's kind of annoying because I want all of my instruments to be in the same space. So now I have to match the reverb to that even when I don't want any reverb on it. So first annoying thing about Symphony Orchestra is that when you turn the reverb off, there's too much reverb on it. That's annoying. But anyway, we can get beyond that. That's cool. It's cool. It's a nice sounding clarinet. So let's listen to our part. Okay, so the staccato and the long and the short notes don't really match, but that's okay. That's cool. It's fine. See, we need to be careful here because it's easy with flutes because flutes sound like flutes, but once you get into the difference between a clarinet and an oboe, things get a little bit more complicated. So let's stick with a clarinet, a solo clarinet. See, now I'm tempted to come in here and just kind of go, you see, look at this, horrible. It's exactly on 300. Quick tip, if you ever want anything to sound a bit less kind of boxy and cheap, and you want things to sound a little bit more sort of kind of glistening and a little bit nicer, ditch 300 hertz. The big joke being between engineers is that 300 hertz, but 250 doesn't. Yeah, I know. Great. Yeah, it's the best dad joke in the world. That is the kind of humour you get with sound engineers. And, you know, if you found that funny, you're in the right place. If you didn't, sorry, dude. No room for you here. Let's try that with this as well. That sound, it's horrible noise. Horrible noise. Where was that? It just sounds like the Beatles again to me. I think we can't use it. I don't think we can use this sampler clarinet because it just sounds like Beatles instrument, which doesn't sound like a clarinet. So, okay, well, Spitfire, you win. So, we're using Spitfire and we're using the clarinets. That's fine. And you can see that almost all of this is staccato. So, maybe the thing to do then is, look, you see that almost all of this is staccato except for this section here. Rather than articulation switch, because there's so little of it, I think I might just split that in two. Same with this. Look, there's lots of switching. I wonder. Just to get an idea, let's just see what it's like if we have a bit of both. That's quite cool. I'm alright with that.